Hello, viewers. Center has notified the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act, but a lot of questions related to that are unanswered. What are the legal challenges facing the CAA? Does it really impact the Indian Muslims? To know more about it, let us talk to Supreme Court Advocate, Mr. Anas Tanwir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me over.
yeah. The first question I wanted to ask you was, uh, what are the legal challenges facing the CAA, be it with the petitions that are pending against it or with relation to the Assam Accord?
All right. So these are two different things. So first aspect is as to the challenges that are pending. There are close to 400 challenges that are pending against Citizenship Amendment Act 2019. Supreme Court has issued notice. There is no stay. There has never been a stay on it, and those remain pending. One of the grounds that we have taken in our petition is that CA is unconstitutional, not because of the present amendment, but because of its interplay with the 2003 amendment. So let me explain it to you. Article 15 of the Constitution, it says that there cannot be any discrimination on the basis of religion, caste, creed, race, gender, so on and so forth. What happens is, what 2003 amendment did, it said that a person born in India after December 2003 is an Indian citizen only if one of the parent is Indian citizen and the other is not illegal immigrant. So, say for example, I am a Muslim born after 2003 and my father is an Indian citizen, my mother was declared to be an illegal immigrant. I cannot take benefit of the 2014 amendment because it restricts the Muslims from taking advantage of it. Okay, being benefited from it. But a similarly placed non-Muslim can take benefit of it. Now, this is discrimination on the basis of religion.
Right.
And therefore, on its own, it makes the present amendment completely unconstitutional because for the first time, and I believe this is the first time in the history of any secular nation or any democratic nation, where the citizenship is on the basis of religion. Okay, it goes against the very grain of constitution, goes against the very spirit of democracy. Now coming on to the second part, the Assam Accord. What was the Assam Accord? Assam Accord said that there will be identification of the foreigners and deportation and so on. And 6A was introduced, which put up a cutoff date of 24th March 1971, specifically for Assam. So any person who entered Assam before 24th March 1971, after a cooling off period, was granted citizenship. All right. And those identified, like there was a complete NRC exercise and 19.4 lakh people were determined to be non-Indian.
Right.
Okay. Now what happens is, the Assam Accord was not on the basis of religion. There was no mention of religion. There was no question of religion. Matter of fact, the controversy in Assam started because the Bengalis, Bhadrolog, or the upper caste who migrated from Bangladesh to Assam at that point. Not many Muslims migrated at that point. But the Hindus who migrated, they took up the top jobs with their hard work, with their talent, with their education. And the Assamese found themselves to be out of those jobs. That is where the first spark started. Now it obviously soon converted into a religious exercise, as it happens most of the time. And the goalpost shifted. And the target became the Mia Muslims. All right, so any Bengali living in Assam, if he's a Muslim, was under scanner, has been under scanner. NRC sort of puts a rest to it, even though I personally do believe it is a faulty exercise. Should have been, I mean, it could have been not done at all, because not a single document till date actually confirms the fears of the Assamese that there has been a huge amount of influx. Not a single document that can prove that. So this CA affects that, because even if among these 19.4, what rumors I'm hearing, and obviously there is no data, but the rumors from the ground are that only 5 to 6 lakhs are Muslims. The rest are not. So they will be saved, even though the agenda was to throw out all the illegal immigrants.
Right.
So this goes against the spirit of Assam Accord. And it breaks the Assam Accord. And most importantly, you identify them as Bangladeshi. Bangladesh is not ready to take them. You don't have a deportation treaty with Assam. So do you intend to keep 6-7 lakh people in detention centers? What is the end game? There is no end game here. You cannot put so many people in detention center.
Right.
It will cost leave alone the humanitarian part. Maybe the government doesn't consider that. But it will have to consider the economic part of it. You cannot sustain so many people in detention. And that is why the government around the time of COVID decided to, let out people who have spent 3-4 years in detention out of detention camps. Now they are back in society. Okay, so this amendment neither affects anyone, nor helps anyone. Come on to the next question. I'll explain that as well.
Right. Since you spoke about Muslims, let me ask you: does CAA really affect Muslims, or what is the myth? Like, because the opposition are saying that this is the first step towards executing something like that. The center is denying it. But
yes,
who has a better point to make in this case?
No one. Let me put it this way. Government, there was a very viral video of Amit Shah saying chronology ko samajhiye, CA aayega, फिर NRC aayega, NPR aayega. So this happened. On around end of December, PM Modi said that there was never a plan for a pan-India NRC. Then there was the question of NPR. That what they will do is they will conduct an NPR exercise along with the census exercise. And from that, they will collect data for NRC. That is also not possible because the question number 13 and 14, that is a question on the origin. Let's say where your parents were born, where you were born and all. That question is optional. It's not mandatory. And it was said by Amit Shah in the well of parliament that these questions are optional. All right. So there is no way that they can collect the data, first of all. Second, Assam NRC cost around 200 crores or something for a very small state. Imagine an exercise this huge for all over India where there is an opposition to such an exercise. What will be the cost of it? It will tank the economy. It will definitely tank the economy.
Right.
So this exercise doesn't get you anywhere. And matter of fact, Indian Muslims are not affected by CA. We are not affected by CA. We will be affected if an exercise like NRC or NPR is conducted, and it's not necessary that we'll be affected. We'll be affected because of the malafide. If the exercise is done maliciously, if the exercise is done in a legal manner, no one will be affected. We will not be affected. Matter of fact, most of the Indian Muslims will find, because we have always had that sword. This happened in Assam as well. We have kept our documents. We have the proper documents. We have everything. We'll show. We have been here since generations. We have family tree Shijara. We'll show the Shijara. And the Shijara goes on to 10, 11, 12 generations. Who else can show that? No one can show that. If I ask you, what was the name of your great-grandfather, can you tell me the name of your great-grandfather? I can. I have that family tree. So it won't affect us. Matter of fact, let us be under no impression, such impression that it will affect us or anything. It will cause problem. It will cause inconvenience, and it will be for everyone. This exercise itself is malicious because no nation presumes its own citizen to be non-citizens. No nation presumes its citizens to be illegal immigrants.
Right.
All right. This goes at the very core of your citizenship. And with citizenship goes to the very core of your fundamental rights. You cannot take away fundamental rights. You cannot have an exercise that adversely affects someone's fundamental right.
Right. And I'm going to get to the political part of it, just to seek some legal clarification on that part.
Right, sure.
The state chief ministers, like be it the Kerala chief minister or the Tamil Nadu chief minister, M.K. Stalin, they have said that they will not implement CAA in their state. But given this is a matter of the center,
exactly,
are they right in saying they cannot implement it, or what are they trying to convey, or how can the state?
They can refuse to provide. These exercises are done by teachers and staff of the state government and all that. They can refuse to provide that resource. That is the best they can do.
So they can be
But
uncooperative.
they can be completely non-cooperative, and these exercises will fail because it cannot be done without the support of the state government. The resources are with the state government. You cannot have central forces or the students or the officers or the teachers of the central government services doing this exercise in Kerala. And there's also the issue for Kerala and Tamil Nadu especially, that's the issue of language. This issue was the issue in Assam as well. So, like say for example, the S is silent in Assamese, and if you come to me and I say my name is Soiduz Zama, I will say Soiduz Zama, you will write as Saiduz Zama because you are not non-Assamese. You don't understand O and A. The same thing will happen down south as well.
Right.
Okay. So this exercise cannot be done without local forces, without the local support, and the government, obviously the state government has the right to not cooperate. But citizenship is completely an issue in hand of central government. It's at the discretion of the central government. Okay, it is part of the union list. So there's only this much that the state governments can do, and nothing more. And for CA also, the people who will come or who have come, there won't be anyone new coming. Anyone who has to apply has to be in India before 2014.
Right.
Okay. So they will apply to the central government, not to the state government. Okay, so the citizenship is to be granted by the central government.
Okay, so there is no point in the chief ministers coming out and saying they will not implement it.
It can, I mean, it is a solidarity that is probably not required.
Right.
See, people say that there was CA protests and all, but I was part of those protests. And I'll tell you, the protest was not just against CA, it was against NRC, it was against NPR, it was against police brutality in Jamia, Millia Islamia, it was against police brutality in other parts of India. In UP, people were killed, people were shot by police. So the protests were against all those things. Matter of fact, I have kept this line and I keep repeating, the protesters won. The CA protesters were won. They brought the government down to the knee. Because when the government says there was no plan of pan-India NRC and the question 13 and 14 of the NPR will be optional, this means protesters won. They just couldn't declare their victory in time. That's all.
Right. So I'm going to get to the rules part of the CAA.
Yes.
There are two key things that the center is demanding. One is the proof of citizenship of the origin country, including applicants' ancestors. That's one thing. And two, they've been asked to prove that they have been persecuted. So my question is, how can someone prove that they have been persecuted?
First of all, understand one thing. What it does is, what is the main objective? To expedite naturalization of those who ran away from religious persecution, who are non-Muslims and from these certain countries. Naturalization would have happened in 12 years anyway. It's already 10 years since the cutoff date. Who is it helping? It is helping no one. Then they brought, matter of fact, they brought the similar provision as CA in passport rules. The amendment happened in 2019 or 2018, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. The question that needs to be asked, how many people have applied under that?
Right.
I mean, for that, even the framing of these rules were not required because they were already the rules.
Right.
So this is just political. This is just for vote. And it's very unfortunate that the ruling party believes that its electorate, its voters, will be happy if they bring in a provision that excludes Muslims, even though it is not affecting Muslims. It goes on to show what it thinks of its own voters. And it is very, very troubling. It's very problematic, this thought, because it then reflects on the nation, how the majority perceives it to be. Is it the question that is to be asked? Is the majority a believer in the democracy and the democratic process, the constitution, secularism, or is it just a hate-monger crowd?
Right.
All right. So that is where it stands.
So is it like, I'm just curious, is it possible at all to prove someone has been persecuted? If so, how can they do it?
So
now, given that the rule is there in
it
place.
can be proved if there is a history of persecution in those states and you say that you ran away around the time when killings were happening, when your rights were being taken away, or that particular country enacted a law that took away your citizenship, your rights or anything, or the rights were not given in equal measure as as they were given to the majority in those countries. You can't prove that. No other nation has legislated any such legislation, if I remember correctly. In recent times, there has been no long-term or huge level of religious persecution in any of these nations. All right. So it will be very difficult for them to prove that. And if we take it with in the context of Assam NRC and the Hindus or the non-Muslims who have been left out of NRC, they will have to, even if they are Indian, they will have to claim that they were Bangladeshis. This brings in a peculiar problem that Indians will have to prove that they were Bangladeshi to stay Indian. This is absurd. This is as absurd as it gets. So as I was saying, there's no basis. It affects no one. It helps no one. It is just pure propaganda.
Right. So basically,
I mean, that art is not even of the value on the paper that it was published, printed on. It does nothing at all.
Right. So would it be fair to say that this is only being done to send a message to the voters and
this is a
maybe
bait
to benefit the immigrants?
Yes, this is a bait. This is completely a bait. And I think, see, I appreciate the CM of Tamil Nadu or the CM of West Bengal or the CM of Kerala, Vijay, Stalin and Mamta, to take the stand that they took. But even if they had not taken that stand, it would have made no difference.
Right.
People are protesting. There have been protests, and I need to clarify that these protests do not come from Muslims. We are not protesting. We understand that it does nothing to us. So whatever may be the political protest, let that happen. I mean, we can't stop that. People have the right to protest. It's their fundamental right. But be rest assured, Muslims are not protesting against this.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for your time,
No
Mr. Anas Tanwir.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.